You tasted the pain of losing someone. Broken chains don't even look back.
Oh boy, how's it going?
Oh my god.
How's it going, guys? Topic for today's video is training smarter instead of training longer. So a lot of people, when they start, getting into exercise and fitness, is that I would say that a lot of people are really focused on endurance training. So that's like, say you start out, you do a 5K running race, and you're like, oh my god, I finished 5K running race. Now it's like, now I'm gonna do a 10K running race. Now I'm gonna do, once they finish that, then they're gonna do a half marathon. Then once they finish that, then they're gonna do a full marathon. And maybe they'll get into ultra running or ultra marathons or whatever, right? Where they do just these crazy long endurance runs. But if the reason why you're doing it is for, I would say, like an effective weight loss strategy, like it's not the only reason why you're doing it. Like obviously you're doing it for health and all that good stuff, get out, get some fresh air, but a primary reason why you're doing it is because you want to get, the bikini body, or you want to get shredded, or you want to get lean. Instead of focusing on endurance training, you want to focus on speed training. So instead of like, after you finish that 5K running race, so instead of trying to run a longer distance, focus on improving your 5K time. So if you can run a 5K, say your first time's 27 minutes, try to do it in 25 minutes. Try to do it in 23 minutes. Try to do it in 21 minutes. Try to do it in 18 minutes. Because if you look at, you can look at the fastest athletes in the world, they're all thin. All of them are thin. Like, so if you look at the fastest runners, you look at the fastest cyclists, even some of the fastest swimmers. Like if you look at them, even maybe like the fastest speed walkers or whatever, right? Which they're funny with their movements. But if you look at the very fastest, they're just naturally very thin, right? And I can look at somebody who can run a marathon in 4 hours and they can be overweight. Like I've seen people, when I was in Cairns, Australia, and I was watching the Ironman, there's people who are attempting to do a half Ironman, and I would label these people as literally like obese. Like, and I'm not saying like in a disrespectful way at all. Like they're literally like, I couldn't believe that they're actually attempting it, because as someone myself, like I'm very lean. I'm like I wouldn't even do that. I haven't even done the training to do any type of exercise like that. You can do these super long distances, but if you're looking for basically to get a shredded body, is that you want to focus on speed training. So you want to get faster at whatever you're doing. And Hannah has experienced that as well, like when she started to do running.
Yeah. So when I started running, I did the same thing that he just said. So I did a 5K race, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I can run 5K. So then I was like, well, I should try and run 10K. And then I did a 10K race, and then I did a half marathon. It was just absolutely brutal. And like, this was when I was at my highest weight. So when he was saying like obese people like trying to do a half Ironman, like that was my mentality, because I'm thinking, well, the longer that I can run, or like the longer that I can burn calories and, be active, the leaner and fitter that I'm going to get. But in the past month, I think Derek, like told me, focus on your speed. You're going to just have so much more gains or whatever. You're going to realize like how much fitter you're becoming. And so at first I was doing like an 18K ride, and I was just like, this is too long, because I obviously have a full-time job. Like I work, and coming home and doing this like 4 times a week, I'm like, this is just too much. So then I started doing 10K, just a 10K as fast as I possibly can, cycle it out, whatever. I think I started at like 28 minutes the first time that I did it, and we just did it yesterday at 24 minutes. So I've only done it maybe 10 times, and I've increased my time, or
decreased your time.
Decreased my time by, what is that, like 4 minutes?
4 minutes.
5 minutes. So I can definitely tell, like when I first started doing this intensity training, speed training or whatever, and trying to get faster, that it's just a lot easier. Like it's brutal, like it hurts. It's hell trying to push your body as hard as you possibly can, because all I focus on is trying to get a faster time every time that I go out on the bike. And I realize that every time that I go out, like I feel fitter and I feel like I can easily do it faster, which is astonishing to me because I haven't even been doing it that long. But like I've just noticed like I've been hungrier, like my appetite is more. And I did a video back when I was in St. Martin saying that I couldn't eat 2,500 calories a day, and like Kaylee and Nicole did, and I just couldn't do it because whatever, like I just wasn't that hungry. But now I realize like if you become fitter, you're a lot hungrier, you can eat more. Like I just realized like even my body temperature is higher, like I'm always friggin' hot, like I'm just hot all the time. And I can definitely see a difference in just how I feel and like my energy levels and stuff like that by focusing on what.
And you said your legs, you've noticed a difference.
Yeah, my legs are getting like leaner, and like my love handles are a lot less noticeable in just like 2 weeks of doing this 10K. So I had never focused on trying to get fitter, you know, I was always just trying to focus on distance and burning as many calories as I can because I thought that that's how you would train your body to be fitter, you know?
So the main difference between doing endurance training and like speed training or intensity training is basically as you improve your fitness level, you're basically building lean body mass on your body. So you're building up your muscles are becoming larger, and when they're becoming larger, you're putting more muscle on, you're gonna naturally burn more calories just through your resting metabolic rate. So that's just how many calories you're just burning throughout the day for whatever reason. Also, when you're doing very intense exercise and you really bust it out there and you really like work really hard and your muscles are breaking down and they're building back up, in order to actually recover, you're gonna need more calories as well. So if you wanna run, so for weight loss, you have to run a small caloric deficit. So instead of thinking that I'm gonna go out and ride my bike for 3 hours in order to burn X number of calories, what I would say is a more effective approach is to raise your resting metabolic rate through focusing on speed training, focusing on intensity training, so that basically you're just burning more calories when you're sitting around doing nothing. Like that to me seems a much more effective approach. And as you continually like build up your fitness, you'll notice that you have much more kind of like, I would say have much more kind of like freedom in terms of like how many calories I eat, right? So I can eat like a lot of calories and like it doesn't really matter because my resting metabolic rate is so much higher than most people just because my fitness level is so much higher, and it just makes it so much easier for sustainable weight loss over the long term. So
how would you start doing it? So like to start doing it,
so I mean
he says like do an hour, and I'm like no, because most people like have full-time jobs and have kids and have like shit to do, right? Like I would say doing like 30 minutes, very high intensity 4 times a week, and it's something that you could do and like sustain and do that over time.
So what you want to do is you want to focus on breaking down a workout into 3 sections. So you want to have a warm-up section, you want to have a max effort section, and also a cool down. So you want to warm your body up, and typically you're going to be between 110, 130 beats per minute. You want to do that for 10 to 30 minutes. Then you want to focus on a max effort where you're basically going at between 170, 190 beats per minute. That's basically when you can't breathe. Your muscles are fatiguing quite a bit. It feels like there's battery acid like running through your muscles. Very difficult, basically. It's very difficult to speak, and you know, maybe it kind of feels like your head is drowning.
It feels awful.
It feels terrible, right? And this is one reason why people don't want to do it, is because it doesn't feel the greatest. But so you want to focus on maybe doing an intense section of exercise or fitness for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. So it's not like you're doing it for like half an hour, like 3 to 5 minutes. And then you want a cool down period afterwards for another 10 to 30 minutes as well. So you want to basically warm up, have a very high intensity interval, and then basically go back down to just a cool down where you're just 110, 130 beats per minute. It's pretty easy. So you want to do that just to kind of reduce the risk of injury, because if you just basically start out just going as hard as you can, you can basically injure yourself quite quickly. Now, if you're quite overweight or obese as it is right now, I would probably just focus on just getting out there and starting to exercise. I wouldn't focus on doing any type of intensity or speed training until you kind of get more accustomed to doing whatever you're doing, if it's walking, cycling, swimming, whatever it is. Focus on that down the road, because I can go out and bust my ass for like a good solid like 10 minutes where I'm basically dying on the bike, but I've also been cycling hardcore for about 4 years now. So it's something that definitely takes a little bit of time, because your muscles and your ligaments, they need to kind of be used to doing a lot of intense exercise. And if you haven't been doing it for a while, or you're just new, just get out there and maybe push yourself a little bit, but not to the point where you're just gonna like, where you feel like you're gonna injure your body or anything like that. Just kind of get out there. Focus
more on your diet and just eating whole plant foods, and like your weight will come down easily.
Yeah, and as your weight comes down easily, it's much easier to get out there. And your
fitness can go up.
And your fitness can go up a lot. All right, so I hope we've kind of explained it well why you should be focusing on speed instead of endurance. If you have any more questions or comments about it, definitely leave them below, and we'll do our best to answer those up for you. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you have a great day. See you. Bye. Everybody used to be, so not to blame, you shoot the tree. You watch it fall as you can see, you start the game.